We're good. Good morning, everybody. Karibuni sana. We are ready to start. Cindy?
We are ready to start. Shisubire, can you hear me?
Yes, I think you are mute for 1 second.
Thank you so much for that. So good morning, founders. Welcome to a new morning. We'd like you to kindly share your name, a fun fact about you, and why you do what you do. So welcome to a new morning. Today is a very special Thursday, and it is more of a celebration because it marks the last day of the Recovery Hub. It is funny how time flies when there's so much learning. It was Monday just the other day when we began the Recovery Hub August edition with 20 knowledge tracks, and today is the final day. I cannot even believe it. I think we should have a rerun of that August edition. This week flew so fast. Before we start to celebrate, here are some virtual guidelines. 1, mute your microphone when not speaking and unmute before you start to speak. Use the chat box to catch up with other participants and the Q&A section to ask questions. To avoid distraction, put your phone on silent, open session browser only, then feel free to tweet using the hashtags on the screen. Welcome once more. So the Founders Network is a group of founders who have come together through part of our network. We have the Founders Profit Academy, an online learning platform that has a totally different approach.
Cindy, are you there?
Cindy, we have lost you. Hi, Cindy, have we lost you? Alrighty. Cindy?
Okay, now I can see the screen. Thank you. I am here. Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. You poted kidogo.
Okay, so thank you so much for that. So Founders Network is a group of founders who have come together through partnership initiatives to support the growth of SMEs. Being part of our network gives you access to mentorship by our various certified mentors, networking opportunities on our online platforms that is full of established and emerging entrepreneurs who are ready to support each other. You can also access funding through our revolving fund that is known as Catalysts. We have 3 delivery platforms. One being the Founders Profit Academy, an online learning platform that has a totally different approach of learning. And that is where we were there from Monday to now, where we were doing our Recovery Hub August edition. Two, we have the Online Business Experts, where we help founders increase their visibility and productivity by outsourcing roles that are essential in their business, but are not their personal favorites, to allow them concentrate on their queen bee role. Our founder always says the work of the queen bee is to lay eggs. That is their only work. So there's one major role that you play in your business, and there are things that are essential but are not your personal favorites. The Online Business Expert is here. Three is the Founders Network, which is a mentorship network where members gain competence, compliance, and access to capital. Today we have a very informative and engaging program, so keep your notebooks and pen or other note-taking devices very close to you. We will begin by a recovery briefing, and today is a very special session because we have the founder, it's called Founders Conversation Special Edition, because we have everyone, all the founders who are in our recovery hub since Monday, and also we have all the founders from all over the country and all over the world. So we will begin by a recovery briefing, then have a session with Jun Shiomitsum, the founder and president of African Business Institute, on how to thrive now and beyond COVID-19 by moving from reliance to reliability. Then in the founder spotlight, we will have Joe and Mercy, who both love well-cooked fatty meat and have been part of the August Recovery Hub. What an interesting coincidence, right? That they all love well-cooked fatty meat. Don't worry, they loved, but they did not tell me. We will then wind up our time together with news on what is happening in the founders community. Be sure to stay until the end and learn more about our value-added bonuses. So today we will start off with the recovery briefing from Irene Sadia. Irene is a recovery mentor and a profit first professional. When we see Irene when we just see Irene or the mention of the name of Irene, our minds immediately switch to profit, cash flow, and profitable businesses. So Irene will be here to give us a recovery briefing because it is a special edition of a recovery hub and a founders conversation. Karibuni to our special edition. Irene, welcome on board.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Cindy. And especially good morning to our recovery participants. And so basically our briefing this morning is we are at day 4 and we are so honored and so appreciative that you have stayed with us for these last 4 days, and the end is near. So just sit tight and enjoy the rest of this day. Now, as we've done, you've done the recovery. So when we're done with this briefing and this founders conversation, we will do the normal. We will go in and do your self work, go through the videos and do your work and submit it to Melvin and to Frida as usual. And then of course there will be the fireside chat, and you don't want to miss that. That's going to be amazing. It is said that better the end of a thing than the beginning. And just to tell you how special this will be, we will have the June activators at the fireside chat tonight. And so you remember when you were in school and closing day came, so show up like that's closing day special. Put on your videos, put on your camera, and enjoy that fireside chat. It is said that the first step is normally a handshake, but in the new normal, we want to see your face. People do business with people they like and trust. So how will we trust, or how will they trust and like you if they don't see your face? So please show up. This is our closing day special, and be ready to enjoy. Make sure you submit your work to Frida and to Melvin as we've been doing. And so moving on. So basically this starts with the briefing now, and then we'll do our virtual learning, and then we'll take our action steps, and then of course we'll meet at the fireside chat. And so our keywords today will be moving on, please. Okay, so our keywords today will be plan and pivot, cost, cash, practice, fulfillment, and profit. So our Recovery Hub activators, we trust that when we meet at the fireside chat, it will be an engaging session for you because you will meet mentors, you will meet peers, there will be a whole lot of networking happening there, and you don't want to miss that. Yeah, so Cindy, take it away.
You can see they have been stated in her slide as her keyword. So whenever you see Irene, profit. So thank you so much, Irene, for briefing our founders today. I hope you took note of the keywords. Please this week and share them in the chat box.
Thank you very much, Cindy, for that wonderful opening. And thank you, Irene. Yes, when we see Irene, we see profit. And because she's the one who makes sure that we organize the money into the Profit First methodology. As you know, the Profit First methodology helps you to make a profit from every sale. But that's not what our topic here is today. Today, we have a fantastic guide all the way from Japan. Sometimes in Uganda, sometimes he's in Africa, but I know he is in Japan today, and we're really excited to be having Jun Shiomitsum. I met him at a webinar I did with Watoto Church in Uganda, and I listened to him and my life changed. And I was like, you know what, Jun, you must come to Founders Conversation. And you know how I am. When I hear a speaker who can add value to founders, I speak to him immediately. There is no shame in my game. So I quickly asked Jun if he could come and speak to us, and he graciously accepted. And Jun is the founder and president of African Business Institute, a kingdom-centered full-package business education, incubation, and investment institute. They have over 20 Christian businesses planted in Africa since 2018. And he lives in Japan and Uganda. And if you look at him, you'll think he's a Chinese. No, he's not. Many times people confuse his age. I have not persuaded him to tell me his age, but I want you to guess his age in the chat box and he'll tell us if it's true or not. I am guessing he's 18. How old do you think Jun is when you look at his face? I guess he's 18. Many times they have doubted his age and refused him entry into places because of his looks. How old do you think Jun is? Jun has been a banker for 13 years in Japan, UK, and Switzerland. He's also been the VP Treasury Department of Citibank Japan and co-founder of the Global Financial Institute under the Deutsche Bank Group. Jun earned his master's at Cambridge University and has studied theology, church history, comparative religion apologetics, Greek, Hebrew, and other biblical studies. But we have agreed that today he will speak English. So, you know, if you, by the time you study Greek, Hebrew, and all that, and you speak Japanese and you look like Chinese, you're probably wondering what language will this guy speak? Have you guessed his age, by the way? Cindy, what is the age people are guessing for June there?
Age you
All
guessed,
right.
you super,
Okay.
you hey, we have 38, we have
All
30,
right.
we have 42, 36. I'm even wondering where your 18 came from. We have 49.
The guy looks 17. I don't know how you guys are seeing. Maybe it is my glasses that need to be refreshed.
Please fix your glasses. You have
I
guessed
see.
way below.
June,
we have a 20.
I don't know whether you have a 20, okay?
Yeah.
June, somebody thinks you're 20. I don't know how old you are, but I'm going to welcome June. Let's give June a round of applause. I don't know how we are going to do it. We can't hear ourselves, but just say yes. Can we see a Y in the chat box if you're ready to listen to June? to take us from reliance to reliability. If you're ready to hear from Jun, let me see a yes. He's a banker, he's an MBA, he
We are
runs
having
Africa
a lot
Business
of
Institute.
yeses.
All right, we are ready for June. All righty, so let's go. I believe, June, you have permission to share slides. So, and I'll say here, all panelists can share. Karibu sana, you're welcome. I was going to try and think of my Japanese word. I can't remember. Who can start sharing with? My Japanese has gone. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Passion Profit team, and especially Frida for inviting me. And thank you all so much for calculating my age. Some of you are very kind. I saw a 20 there, and I wish so. I wish so. But actually, you guys were all pretty much on point. If you take the average, you have the right age. I'm 40. I'm 40 right now. And they say you are what you eat. And I've been eating East African food for the past 5 years. So I must be East African by now. So I'm not Chinese, I'm not Japanese, I'm Ugandan now, perhaps. I'm your neighbor right now. But more importantly, I am a passionate believer of Jesus Christ, which is a very, very rare minority in Japan, where 1% of the population is Christian. And the 1% actually includes, various types like Jehovah's Witness and Mormons and so forth. So I think what we would normally call born again Christians would be 0. some percent. Which is another reason why I am still single. At 40, you think that I would probably be married with kids, but it's very difficult to find somebody in Japan when there are so few Christians around. But anyway, that's a little bit about me. I tend to look Chinese, and when I'm in Uganda, people in the street would just go, "Hey, Ching Chong," or "Hey, China," or "Hey, Mao Zedong." And it's funny how when I say, no, I'm Japanese, the expression changes, I think it's because Japanese are so rare. And you see more Chinese people than Japanese people in especially East Africa. So all of that to say, I'm really happy to see how the gospel has spread to all the world, bringing people from completely different walks of life, completely different continents, into one Zoom call to praise his name together and to think about how we can glorify him through building kingdom businesses. So once again, thank you so much for welcoming me. All right, so I think we're all ready for a little bit of macro thinking today. My background has primarily been in banking, investment banking, and a lot of it also involved corporate strategy. That means that the way I look at things tends to be, when I'm professionally anyway, when I look at things, it tends to be from a helicopter view, from a macro view, using numbers and actual events that are happening around the world. And then we zoom in from there all the way down to your balance sheet, and then how do you, raise profits, raise revenue, cut down costs in the macro environment. So the topic today, as already discussed, is from reliance to reliability. And I can't wait to share this with all of you. All right, so I hope you guys can all see the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes? Okay, good. So we've already done the introductions and a very quick overview about what I'm doing now in Uganda. It's called African Business Institute. We already got a snapshot. It's a Christian postgraduate business program that educates people, entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs at an MBA level. Our program partners are Oxford University and Cambridge University. And so there are a lot of teams and specialists who fly in from these universities to teach our students for 1 year. And then when they graduate, most of them start businesses in teams. And then ABI, African Business Institute, also invests into their businesses and helps them launch. So that's a bit about what we do. Do take a screenshot if you would like. I'll show the screen a little bit later as well, and visit our homepage. I hope you will like it very much. Now, today's agenda is very quickly, we're going to look at the global effects of COVID-19, and then we're going to look at the local effects of COVID-19, especially in East Africa. And we'll come back to the agenda many, many times. So, you don't need to really take note of this one. So let's start with the first one, which is COVID-19's effects on the global revenue generation machine. When we talk about revenue, when we talk about profit, passion profit, right? When we look at profit, what we're actually looking at is not just how many customers bought your product this week or this month. That is the micro aspect. The macro aspect is a result of money traveling around the globe to get to your continent, and then get to your country, and then get to your municipality, and then get to your customer, who then buys your product. And so because COVID is a global phenomenon, we need to look at how the global revenue generation machine has been affected, because that is going to ultimately affect your bottom line. So let's take a quick look now at how COVID has changed the world. Let's look at the economic consequences, okay, that are involved. This is actually the first time since the Great Depression that the world is actually experiencing a global shock, where the economic consequences involve supply, demand, and confidence. Usually, all three don't get hit at the same time. But let's take a look. On the supply side, we have the local, regional, and global supply lines being disrupted. It takes petroleum to make plastic. It takes plastic to make, to make buckets or to make pens. And so when the global supply of oil has been disrupted, you don't get plastic, you don't get petrol, you don't get diesel. And so it starts from natural resources. And so supply actually has been disrupted. If you look at the demand side, there's a lot of loss in income in obviously households, but also corporates. And there's loss of confidence as well. And there's a lot of uncertainty about recovery. And this basically has shifted demand, consumption into saving. So the world is kind of on savings mode now. If you have some income, what do you do? What do you do right now? You try to save it, because you don't know how long this is going to last, and you don't know how the economic repercussions are going to affect your bottom line. So you start saving. And that's not just you. The entire world is saving right now. It's in saving mode. So demand has been disrupted. And then there is the extreme uncertainty and therefore inconfidence about both the duration and the magnitude that the pandemic is going to have. So this, again, like we said before, promotes saving, and it dampens buying. If you can make do with what you have right now, you're going to try to make do with it. You're not going to try buying new things. If you can eat and feed your family right now, probably you're going to say, all right, we don't need to eat sumptuously. If you have a car right now, you say, oh, I don't need to go buy that new car. If you think, okay, I have a nice suit, but it's getting a little bit old, well, you're not going to buy another suit right now, because number one, you don't know if you're going to need it, because everything is online now. And number two, I mean, you're not going to go out and show it off to anybody right now, especially when the world is in lockdown mode. So a lot of these flashy little things that you want aren't as attractive purchases anymore. If you have an iPhone 5 and you've always wanted to buy another new model of iPhone, well, if your iPhone 5 works fine right now, you're going to just go with that for now until it breaks down, right? So it dampens buying, and it makes revenue generation extremely difficult then for the companies, who then have difficulty paying salaries, which then again dampens buying. And so confidence has been disrupted. We just don't know. And that is actually the essence of human fear, isn't it? We fear things we can't see. That's why we kind of fear. There are people who fear the dark. There are people who fear deep water because you can't see what's underneath you, what's around you. We fear doing new things. Probably not the people in this room because we're entrepreneurs, but a lot of people fear doing new things, but you can't see what's on the other side. And that dampens your confidence. And we don't know, for example, if there's going to be a second wave of corona, and we don't know when the treatment is going to come. We can't see. And so the confidence has been dampened. When all three have been hit at once, at a global scale, there is a very big issue. And that's where we are right now. So let's zoom now from the global aspect into the East African community. I don't know if some of you have seen this already, but this is the EABC, the East African Business Council's report. Very early on, I don't think they've released another one since, but this was in April. And in April, they've already predicted quite a lot of things that actually came true as a result of COVID-19. Number one, you can see that the areas of supply chains that are affected, number one is a tie between decline in sales. People are not buying. Both households, individuals, corporates were just not buying. And so that affects, like I said, company profits, which affects salaries, which then affects buying, which then affects even the roadside stalls where people are selling, actually, I don't know what the roadside stalls in Kenya sell, but, my point is, even down to the roadside eateries, if people don't have salaries, they don't buy that anymore. And so it's a cycle. Another thing tied at number one at 55.90% is obviously border restrictions. And these border restrictions have cut off supply. As you can imagine, it has cut off supply. And in Kenya's case, especially, it's cut off demand, as in a lot of products are shipped in through Mombasa and then carried into the interior of Africa using land routes. Now, when the land routes are restricted, suddenly the demand for Kenyan products also have dropped. Okay, so that is kind of the local East African supply chain and how it's been disrupted. Now, this is very important. This is the global, we just discussed this at the beginning, right? The revenue generation machine. And in economic terms, we call this global value chain, okay? And this is what it looked like up till now, before COVID. You have raw materials, right? And this is just a rule of thumb. Raw materials are found in developing countries, and then they're bought by what we call developed countries, China, Europe, Japan, and the US. And then the developed countries produce goods, right? And then next, once the goods are produced, even before they're produced, while they're being produced, especially US, Europe, and Japan leads the research and development, and therefore also they often set the rules and set the price, right? And so the price is set globally. I mean, they're not going to have different prices for developing countries and developed countries. And so, that actually is a very difficult situation for a lot of developing countries, because you have to buy products that you provided raw materials for at the same price that the developed countries are buying them for. Probably even more expensive because they have to be shipped back to you, and there are tariffs and taxes involved. Okay, next step, China, which is kind of like the world's factory, mass produces what was designed in the previous step by US, Europe, and Japan, right? And so the emerging markets then buy the finished products at the same price, like we discussed, and they buy it maybe perhaps also for secondhand for a cheaper price. Then the profits, they go primarily to China for producing it, and also to Europe and the US and Japan for designing and researching and developing them, and also for IP, intellectual property, patents, and so forth. And then at the end of the chain, finally, the profits, when we say, China's producing or Europe is researching, these are not the governments per se, right? It is the companies in these countries that are researching and developing and producing. And so the governments of those countries then tax these companies. And then the governments, once they have gotten the tax, they often give loans and donations to Africa and other developing countries, okay? And like it or not, at least until COVID started, this is how money moves around the world. Now, the thing is, that COVID-19, the reason it's significant is the first time since the Great Depression that both advanced and emerging economies will be in recession, okay? And this is very big. There are, there are economic crises, and then there's a health crisis. The economic crisis is what we saw during the global financial crisis, about 10 years ago. But the economic crisis up till now used to be that, the engine of the growth of economic growth globally was still healthy, because the engine of growth has always been the emerging economies. The economies of Africa and Southeast Asia continue to show strong GDP growth, right? And so even though the developed countries are experiencing a financial crisis, at least it evens out. And the overall world economy is continued stimulated by strong demand from emerging economies, even though the developed countries were hit badly this time. But this time, it's totally global. There's no region or single country that has been spared. Okay, so that's a very big issue. We've seen the entire supply chain, supply, demand, and confidence being hit. Now we've seen developed economies and emerging economies being hit. Now, the next one is very important. I said there are two crises. The first is economic, the second one is health. The health crisis, well, up till now, sadly, deadly viral outbreaks and pandemics like Ebola, for example, were stereotypically associated with regions like Africa and other developing countries. And so, the world pours out, aid because of the Ebola outbreak and so forth. But the coronavirus, it's really crippled the G20 countries, the developed countries, way earlier, and so far more relentlessly than it did in developing countries. I don't know how many cases of COVID has been found in Kenya and how many deaths it has resulted in. But I can probably bet my bottom dollar that it is nowhere close to what we see in the United States and Europe and Japan. And so the point is that these numbers have changed the priorities, the direction and nature of humanitarian donations and aid around the globe. Suddenly, we're in a globe where everybody is terrified, everybody's at risk, and everybody's in need, okay? And so the pandemic has created a precedent now where many humanitarian charities and aid organizations have had to tell Africa for the first time, sorry, but you have to wait in line. And this precedent may have profound effects upon the world's perspective and sentiment towards international aid, charity, and their destination as the world enters a new normal. Okay, so actually, that's just the economic and health crisis. I said there are two, but I'm going to add one more because I want you to remember, kind of like when Jesus said, there are 6 things I hate that God hates. No, there are 7. The focus is on the 7th. Now, this time, the focus is on the 3rd. And the 3rd is this. there have been also geopolitical crises that have been happening while the world has been distracted by COVID, okay? And it's not small. As the world was distracted, what has been going on? Well, the US and its allies and China have been experiencing a huge and quickly widening rift, a geopolitical rift. And I will tell you later why this is so important. Let's take the United States, for example. There have been an ongoing, much publicized trade war. There have been hundreds of billions of dollars of worth of tariffs that have been imposed by both sides, Chinese imposing it on US imports and vice versa. Immigration, the United States has told China, look, no, your students, your international students that have any ties with the Communist Party have to be sent back to China. No more visas for them, right? And the US is moving 25,000 military personnel from its European bases to Germany. In Germany especially, to Japan on the Pacific coast, because it is now militarily wary of China and China flexing its muscles. And usually this is a sign of war in where the US ordered the Chinese embassy in Houston, Texas to close. And as they closed, people saw the Chinese embassy burning a lot of documents to hide all kinds of information. And then you have the UK, where you probably heard some stuff about Hong Kong, but the Chinese have swept in and taken Hong Kong way earlier than was agreed with the UK, which was its colony just about 30 years ago. The UK gave Hong Kong back to China, but gave them a 50-year period where China was not allowed to meddle. But China came in with its police and imposed national law that put everybody who says anything bad about China at risk for arrests. And they have made arrests. And that law actually extends not only to people in Hong Kong, but foreigners in Hong Kong, as well as foreigners and Hong Kongers who are outside of Hong Kong. So it is a very, very bold law that has caused the other G20 countries to criticize China very much. And in response, the UK has invited 1/3 of Hong Kong citizens to immigrate to the UK away from China. It's also imposed sanctions upon China. In the EU, US, UK, Huawei, TikTok, 5G, you've seen this, they're boycotting 5G from China and boycotting Huawei and TikTok. And in India, there have been border clashes, military clashes on the border that have resulted in deaths. The Japanese have also started a trade war. They're paying $2 billion worth to Japanese companies that will come back to Japan from China, and hundreds of millions of dollars for those who will just go out of China anywhere. You don't have to come back to China, just don't do business in China, okay? And so this is very difficult, a very difficult situation. And when COVID clears, we're going to see a very different world, a completely different world, where China is at odds with the rest of the US, European, and Japanese and Indian powers. And where's Africa in all of this? Okay. And before I answer that, let me ask you something. Why do you think China has been funding so many initiatives in Africa? There have been huge projects, infrastructure projects and otherwise that China is funding in Africa. And a lot of people have said, Jun, what do you think? Because they think I'm Chinese. So, Jun, what do you think? And I told them, yeah, a lot of people think that it's because they want China's natural resources, but that's, I think, very, very, that's not a very key aim. And since 4 years ago, I had announced my suspicion, which later came true. and that is the UN Security Council. In the UN Security Council, every country has one vote. The United States is one vote, Kenya is one vote. And so when China wants to push something through, if they go to the UN Council, they want a lot of friends voting for them. So let's take Hong Kong, for example. When China swept in and brutally suppressed the riots, brutally suppressed and arrested people who spoke against the Communist Party and arrested them, 54 countries in the UN Council supported China. How many do you think came from Africa? 25. Of the 54, more than half of the countries supporting China's moves are from Africa. Those are the blue countries. And the gray countries are not against China. They haven't said anything, okay? And the United States is gray right now because actually the United States left the discussion. But we all know where the United States stands. And so supporting China, countries supporting China include Burundi, Cameroon, Central African Republic, the Comoros, the Congo Brazzaville, Egypt, Guinea, Eritrea, Gabon, Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea, Lesotho, Mauritania, Morocco, Mozambique, Niger, Sierra Leone, Somalia, South Sudan, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And so this is very, very difficult times geopolitically for Africa. When COVID lifts, there may come a time where countries will have to take sides on this geopolitical rift. Are you on the US and Europe side, or are you on China's side? And some countries in Africa, 25 to be exact, have already made their stance very clear. Why am I going into all of this? Okay, why am I going into all of this? Oh, sorry, I didn't change the screen, but as you can see, the blue countries are the countries that support, and orange are the ones who oppose. So the reason I'm talking about all of this is the global value chain. And what we talked about, everything we talked about up to now, including China and including the supply and demand, is to show you that when COVID lifts, there's a very high possibility that China will no longer be the world's factory. So how dependent or how reliant is your business on a Chinese infrastructure project, or on Chinese clients, or on goods that are imported from China? How reliant are you? Because if you are, then it is probably time. You don't have to necessarily review your business model right now, but you have to keep very close watch on China relations with the rest of the world, because we don't even know the full extent of the story. The animosity is growing day by day. And the other thing is the donations coming in from around the world are going to be lessened tremendously, okay? It's going to be tremendously decreased, even during COVID, but definitely also after COVID. The world's donor money and charities will be focusing on their own countries and staving COVID and vaccinating people in their own countries, and not on other countries. Not to mention, with US President Trump's focus on America first, there is a high nationalistic tendency in the larger economic powers around the world, where people are more interested in helping their own countries. All right, so the big question is this here: how dependent is your business on aid? How dependent is your business? How reliant is your business on NGOs and donor money and international aid money? Okay, because if it is, then you have to review your business, because that is probably going to dry up, or at least it's going to be disrupted tremendously. Now, we don't have too much time, so I'll really skim over this. But let's take a look at the global aspects of all of this. As you probably all know, this is from the business magazine Forbes, but there are 20, they listed up the 20 top reasons that startups fail. And the number one reason is no market need. And the rest is, ran out of cash, a lot of familiar stuff. But by and far, it was no market need. So what is market need? Okay, is it just need? And that is a very big question that we're going to try to address today. Now, here we have three circles. We have a purple one, blue one, and an orange one. The purple one is needs. Okay, these are needs for which people can't or don't expect to pay for. So a lot of NGOs and so forth help where there is need. There is need. It just doesn't mean that people are willing or able to pay for that need. If you're going to start an orphanage, or if you're running an orphanage, or you're running something that helps the needy, that's a great thing to do. That is a Christ-like thing to do. But in the next decade, let's say, you have to be careful if your operation is solely or heavily dependent on foreign aid or from donations, because that is going to dry up. And then you have blue, okay? And blue is demand, or what we call market need. That's the top 20 reason, number one, that's market need, that's demand. Demand is needs for which people can and will pay for, okay? And then you have the orange one, which is want. Want is things that people don't need, but will pay for if they can, okay? So things like a car for your business, a truck for your business, that's a market need. You might need that to run your business. But does it have to be a Mercedes-Benz? No, a Mercedes-Benz is in the want category. You might need to have 100 phones for your business. And you can just buy a very cheap phone, and that is the market need, right? That's demand. I need that, and I can pay for it because I'm a business and it's a core part of my strategy. But do they all have to be the latest model of iPhones? No, because that's the want segment. Now, in a high disposable income environment, okay, which is this slide, this is how much you will be able to earn from each of these categories. The need, you're not going to earn money in the needs segment, right? You're not going to earn money in the needs segment. You're going to get donations perhaps, but that's not earning the money from that segment. That is aid from abroad, and it's not linked with the wallets of the people that you're actually directly serving. So you're not going to make as much money in the purple circle. And the blue circle, yes, you will make money here. You will continue making money here in a high disposable income environment because people will always buy things that are basic necessities. But in a high disposable income environment, the sector that's going to earn the most money tends to be the orange sector, right? If you're in a rich area in Kenya, as opposed to a poorer area or a rural area in Kenya, people who are selling Mercedes-Benz make more money than people who are just selling secondhand old cars, right? So this is high disposable income situation. Now, okay, how about a low disposable income situation? And that is actually where the entire world has suddenly found itself in right now. The entire world has low disposable income because of COVID-19. And so with markets with low disposable income, this is how much you're going to be able to make or earn from each of these categories. People are not going to buy things that they love or want. They're going to buy things they need. And once again, the purple circle, the need sector, is not going to make money, right? And also the donations will probably start to be disrupted majorly. And so this is not a sector that can continue in the form that it is today. And so I hope this helps enlighten you and tell you about, okay, I need to go and review how much is my business dependent on China and how much is my business dependent on foreign aid. On the second one, there is a matrix that at ABI we always show our students. And it asks a question, how NGO are you? How NGO are you? Okay. The more your business relies on donations, the purple circle, the need-based businesses, the less likely it is that it'll survive COVID-19. Donations are drying up. Even yesterday, I heard that one of the biggest churches that have been supporting some of our operations in the United States has dissolved, right? And churches are one of the biggest sources of donations. They're dissolving. People are not able to go to church, and they don't have money to tithe. And then also international aid organizations, okay, are having to say for the first time, like we said, Africa, you have to wait in line. Okay, so donations are drying up. How NGO are you? Now, take a look at this chart. You can see pretty much all the, let's say, capital needs that you would need for your business on the left side. Yeah, you have startup capital, operating capital, assets, fixed or otherwise, and salaries, inventory, and so forth. All these very typical capital needs. Now, I want you to go home and think about this, about your business. In your business, how much or how many of these items is donated? Okay, that means grants or free money from friends or family. Okay, how much of that is donated? Now, how much of that is given by a first or second party loan? Okay, so again, friends and family. First party is yourself, so it's your business, but it's a loan coming out of your own pocket. This is different from donations because donations are not loans. But if it's a first party loan, then it's coming from your own pocket. If it's a second party loan, it's coming from friends and family and their pockets, and these are loans. How many of them are coming from third party loans? These are banks, for example, right? And how much of each of these categories on the leftmost column is coming from bank loans? And then how many is coming from sales revenue? Now, in a normal business, all of this has to come from sales revenue. Yes, even though you have a loan, okay, it is actually being paid by sales revenue because you have to pay it back with sales revenue later on. So go home and then see how many of these things or how many dollars of each of these categories is coming from which of these sources. And I can't share this with you because it's proprietary, but over here on the right on the right bottom corner, you'll see how NGO you are. Now, if you're over 50, you have to start reviewing your business model. If you're over 75, you're in danger. If you're 100%, unless you review your business model, there is a likelihood you won't survive COVID-19. All right? So very quickly, back to the EABC snapshot, okay? If your target is your customer segment primarily the want or love category? And if that is so, you need to review your target market. Or is it a company that finds most of its buyers in the demand or market need, the light blue category? Then you're in a good position. Or is it in the purple category? Then you're in a bad position. Okay, and you need to start thinking about how to get out of that position. You can see how most business sectors are hit in the want or love category. Tourism and hospitality, that is a love or want. You don't need it, but you will pay for it. And 90%, I mean, its cash flow is 90% decreased. Okay, that is huge. That's basically telling you that the entire tourism industry is dead. And then you have logistics, because usually logistics tend to be things that you import, i.e., things that are luxury items. Okay, and that's been disrupted also because the borders are cut off. Retail and real estate. Okay, you're not going to buy land. If you have land right now, you use it. You're not going to buy new land, and so that's again is a want or love category. And then retail, right? How often do you go to the shopping mall to just shop around now, to look for something that piques your interest so that you can spend some more money and feel good about it? No, that's not going to happen right now. And so these are the categories that are in the love and want category. Don't be there either right now. Okay, so I think we're a little bit out of time. So that's where I'll end. But I also want to let you know that there is a silver lining. There is a silver lining in the NGO segment. So I don't want to end with a gloomy tone. So our institute has is launching 6 businesses this year from our students, and of which 3 have gotten their investment already. And these investments aren't necessarily small. They're like $35,000 and so forth of investment. And one of them, who was going for $36,000 of investment into their business idea, it's not even a business yet, got in investment and donations 4 groups of investors who are vying to invest, and the amount of money on the table is about $80,000. How is that possible in COVID? Well, it struck us that actually in COVID, note that I use the word disrupted. The NGO market is disrupted. It's not necessarily completely drying up. It's disrupted, it's changed. We've noticed that the usual people who are interested in donating might not donate anymore, but there are new categories of people who are donating. And these tend to be people who don't need a salary anymore, who don't need income anymore. And they tend to be older people who have savings, and they are suddenly not eating out. They're not going to restaurants. They're not buying new things. They're not buying things for their grandchildren. And suddenly they have more disposable income. And also they're locked at home with nothing really exciting to do. And that is the main category of people who have started to donate or invest into these businesses. So once again, the NGO sector is drying up for sure. There's going to be massive decrease, but it's not going to close completely. There will be a change, a macro level change in the NGO sector. So that's something also worth looking into. All right, thank you very much. And back to you, Frida.
Oh my word. Thank you so much, Jun. Somebody said we need you for a whole month. Somebody told me on the chat session that we need to bring Jun back for a whole month. So I think they need an investor to get some money to make sure that we can keep Jun here for a whole month. Because Jun is not an NGO. He's a banker, he's an investor, he's a president of a Africa Business Institute, and they're serious about helping people make money. I really like this conversation, Jun, because I find that many times as business owners, we've been working with business owners for 10 years, and many times business owners feel that having no money is a problem with the economy, with the government, or some external situation, without really looking inside the business. And you have really helped us to see the big picture, which we normally don't see when we are, enthralled with our business idea and trying to make the next sale. So this has been really good, and we're very grateful to have you. And please put your questions in the Q&A session. I see a couple of questions here for you. Somebody is saying, June, in the new normal, will Africa still remain the market for lower quality goods from China? I don't even know why they think that, but maybe you have an answer for that. And somebody saying, thank you so much for outlining the geopolitical shift in the world and the designs China has for African countries in the United Nations. So perhaps you can answer the two of those at the same time. the China story? Since you look like Chinese, they probably feel you have the right answers.
Thank you. I think that Africa will continue being a very important export destination for China. The more that the United States places tariffs, and the UK and Japan and EU, they're placing tariffs on Chinese products, the more important of a trade partner Africa is going to be. But as you saw from the slide, this is a very important slide, I think. It tells you that Africa is, in terms of the geopolitical rift that is emerging, Africa is not monolithic. There are countries probably that China is going to be more favorable to, and countries that China would probably be a little more aloof with. I think, generally speaking, Africa is going to continue being a very important export market, but China is going to have preferences in Africa. Now, Kenya has not made its position clear on some of these, for example, the intrusion of China into Hong Kong's independence. Geopolitics is very difficult. It's very complicated. Just because you didn't say anything doesn't mean that you don't have a position. Very often, not saying anything is a bigger position than saying something. And so I don't have a clear answer for that. Just to say, Africa will become more important as a buyer of Chinese goods. But we also need to know that a lot of Chinese, what they call Chinese, I forget the term, debt. Chinese debt in Africa may have to be pardoned because they call the world, America, UK, and so forth, is calling it debt colonialization. And China can't afford that kind of PR on the global stage right now. And so they may pardon some of these loans. Now, even if you don't take a geopolitical stance and your country, however, repays the loan or hands over the collateral, that could also affect your nation's position on China's love list, so to speak. So there are a lot of factors that are in motion, and I don't have a simple answer, but I do.
It's not a simple issue, so having a simple answer will not be easy. And of course, we always wonder about China because we have a lot of stuff coming in from China, and many people earn their livelihood from that. So there's a couple of questions here that I'm going to combine because they're all around which sectors are going to come up better after COVID or during COVID, or what your thoughts are on those. So one of them is from Zippy. She's asking, would you give some examples of businesses that are likely to pick up and thrive section as SMEs now rethink their shifts? So if somebody wants to know that, then Paul is also asking a very similar question. What areas in the suppressed sectors could there be innovative chances of turnaround in their functions? And then there's somebody else asking, if tourism and hospitality is going down, how is Airbnb able to launch an IPO? So in these questions, I feel people want to know what is, where should we turn? Where do you think the opportunities are, Jun?
Very, very good questions, all of them. And let me just kind of answer them all in one group, like you were suggested, Frida.
Thank you.
There are very clear industries that are making money, right? So Amazon, delivery businesses are definitely clearly making money. The telecoms industry is also making money. These are places that are continuing making money despite everything else. So let's not talk about those because those are pretty cliche now. Apple, for example, for the first time last week, I think it's technically the first company in the entire world to hit $2 trillion in market capitalization just last week. So electronics companies are definitely doing well. People are buying new electronic equipment so that they can work from home, right? So these are the big ones. We'll put them aside. Now, in the, let's say, SME or startup sectors, I think a lot of the businesses that are going to come out strong are businesses that focus on sharing. So Airbnb is a great example. It is, you know, people are not able to buy very much now. So they'd rather share, they'd rather rent. So rentals will make more money, especially if you have competitive pricing. Rentals, sharing of cars, sharing of houses, sharing of computers, sharing of office space, that will be very important. They'll come out very strong. Another very, you should definitely download the whole EABC report. But in it, one of the business sectors that is making money, or at least not taking as big of a hit, is consultants and management. And the management sector, let me give you an example. How many of you have foreign friends, let's say from the United States or from Europe, Scandinavia, or India, who own a shop or a hotel or a restaurant or land near where you live? Well, because of COVID, a lot of them had to go home. Are they worried about their shop? Probably so. Are they worried about the restaurant? Probably so. So, you know, management companies that will thrive are usually the management companies that are going to come in and say, all right, we will take care of this property for you, or we will run your shop or restaurant for you, and we will send you quarterly or monthly updates. We will do it responsibly for you. And that gives, I mean, that's a whole new market, right? It's a market that exists primarily because of COVID. That kind of company or that kind of service will definitely thrive. And anything that has to do with, I think, what do you call it? Transportation inside the country, or transporting goods inside the country, that will thrive too. You can do it in a very small scale. Like if you own a food truck, then the food truck should no longer be just selling food, you know, in the city square. It should be delivering, for example, and that would be important. Now, what are some of the important things for innovation? That's a great question. I think that was the second question. And here's a very, I think, important piece of advice, and that is, you probably shouldn't be doing something that is completely new, that you don't have experience in right now, even if it is a good business opportunity. Right now, in the middle of a pandemic or right after a pandemic, it is very unlikely that you would get the investment necessary for something that you're not known to be good at, okay, that you don't have a track record for. And it's also very difficult probably right now to get customers to buy products if you haven't done it before. So a lot of young people come and say, hey, you know, they're opportunists. They come and say, hey, what are some of the things I can do right now to kind of exploit this situation? I said, what are you good at? And what are you known to be good at? Now, look inside that sector for ways to adapt for COVID, because that's where you need to start. You can't be a restaurant owner and suddenly try to start, you know, a virtual reality business because virtual reality is good in COVID. You're not known for it. You don't have a track record for it. That means people won't give you loans for it. You won't have the capital to start it. It also means you don't have the network of people to support you, and you don't have the network of customers to buy from you. So be very aware of what you're good at, and be very aware of what people know you are good at. So if someone, let's take the management example. If you have friends who are abroad who have interests or assets here that need management, well, that's great. Why? Because that's an existing network. That's an existing person that you know. And also, hopefully that person knows you as a responsible person that he can count on. If he doesn't, then you probably won't be able to do that anyway. So innovate within your track record. That's very important. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
I think that is very sound wisdom. Innovate within your track record. Don't try and break a new track record during this pandemic. Thank you so much, June. And there are a couple of questions here. I'm going to try and combine them again, but you can also see them on the screen. I think this one is important. Tindi is asking, I know Tindi, she's from the Global Communities Cooperative Movement, and she's asking, June, do you think business models that focus on sharing profits, losses, and capitalize on collective skills to provide services will survive during this pandemic? Are you familiar with the cooperative movement, June?
Yes, the like SACCOs and co-ops.
Yeah, so they have global communities. They do co-ops for people who are working beyond money for business services. Do you think that is a business model that will survive or thrive during the pandemic?
I think that depends completely on how much savings that cooperation has and how much it relies on donor support. I think the three things is how much it relies on donor support, how much savings it currently has, and number three, what we already discussed, is, you know, is it in the need sector or the demand sector or the love and want sector? If it's in the need sector, possibility it won't.
All righty. So what are your thoughts on the place for agriculture, large or small holding as a potential market? What do you think about that, June? What are your thoughts on the place for agriculture, large or small holding as a potential market? We have some upcoming agri-business people in our midst.
A potential market for whom? A potential market
for whom?
Or to a market to invest into, or a market to buy from, or a market. I think I need more
information on that. Okay, so you can add some more information on that and we'll try to answer it. And founders, thank you so much for joining in today. We have 9:43 and we're getting ready for SFA News. Now, to let you know what is happening in the community, today has been a very special day because it's the last day of the Recovery Hub for the August edition. So we have them here and they're lined up to share with you what they are up to. And I just wanted to give June some time to give us his parting shot and to tell him thank you very much for joining us, June. And we look forward to engaging with you. Somebody has said you should come back for a whole month. So we are going to look for you, or we are going to follow you in Japan. I'm not sure which one is going to be, but I've been asked to get you for 29 more days. All right. So June, your parting shot, and then we're going to hand it back over to Cindy. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. And I just wanted to part with encouraging you all because what you're doing as founders and as entrepreneurs and SMEs is so very, very important. It is much more important than some of the big companies we know. And I'll tell you why. According to the Milken Institute, the developed countries like the United States, 50 to 60% of their employment and GDP comes from the SME sector. That's more than half. And when you look at let's say Uganda, I know Uganda well. So if you look at Uganda, you have a lot of micro companies. These are subsistence companies, mom and pop shops. They produce as much as they consume. And then you have large multinational corporates, and you also have government-related companies. Those are the big ones. And the SME sector is empty, or nearly empty. And so, that's a risk for that country's economy, but it's also a huge opportunity for the gospel. Imagine if we, SMEs, Christian SMEs, can take over that market, which is open for the taking right now, and envision a future of Kenya or Uganda where 50 to 60% of employment and GDP comes from Christian companies that are intentionally kingdom building. That's going to sway votes. That's going to sway policies. That's going to change your country and baptize it for Jesus Christ. So go strong and be encouraged and go with the Lord. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much, June. Be encouraged. Go strong and go with the Lord, because you're not alone. He's with you always. June, thank you so much. Perhaps you can help us stop sharing the screen, then Cindy can carry on from here. Founders, you're getting ready for SFA News. Get ready to find out what's happening in the community so that you can participate, you can engage. There's always something exciting for you here where we are at. Thank you so much. Cindy, you can carry on.
Thank you so much for that, Frida. You really promised to bring a guest. It was worth flying all over the ocean. It was worth everything.
I don't play, Cindy. I don't play. When I say I'm going to Japan, I go.
It is very evident you did not come to play.
All right.
So thank you so much, Thank you so much. My takeout from what June has said is that you should innovate within your track record. That one is very important. That is a takeout I have taken, but the whole session, my notebook is full. So today we are going to get to the Founder Spotlight. This is a segment that allows upcoming or existing founders to share what they do and why they do it. It is a good way to engage and interact in the founders conversation. Today we have two founders who took part in the August Recovery Hub. Remember, I told you the people who love well-cooked fatty meat. So just as the name suggests, I am sure they're on their track to recovery. Let's welcome them warmly in the chat box. You can give us a yes, because you're going to hear from them. And I will begin with Joe Mukoko. Joe is a management consultant and founder of Daima Consult. His favorite quote is from the Bible, Matthew chapter 5, verse 14 to 15. And I quote, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it in a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house." Joe believes everyone is born for a set reason and has the ability, talents, and skills to make life better for humanity. A fun fact about him is he loves cooking ugali and fatty meat while on diet. I wonder who
Cindy,
does that.
I
Yes?
do. Do you know I like eating ugali and fatty meat?
Well, on diet, the part is while
I
on
do
diet.
not diet. My diet is seafood diet. I eat what I see.
All right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he also loves dressing in brightly colored shirts. I hope he's in one today. Joe Karibu.
We'll find out.
Good morning, all.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, founders.
Good morning. Where are you hiding? We can't see you.
I have put my video on. I don't know why it's not starting.
All right, carry on.
Can you see me?
No,
Yes.
but we can hear you. Carry on. There you are. Carry on. Thank you, Joe.
Fantastic, fantastic. It's good to see all of you. It's been a very sobering morning, and thank you, June, for the presentation. Just goes to reaffirm what we have been learning in class for the last 3 days, and this is the 4th day, and hopefully we shall continue until November. As Cindy said, and Cindy, thank you very much for that warm welcome.
You're welcome, Joe. I can see you in a colored shirt.
Yes, yes, yes. I have to be in a bright colored shirt. The only thing I need to show you next time is how to make the fatty meat. So at Daima Consult, we believe in sustainable growth and profit, and then profit generation for our clients. Like was rightly said, we believe in people. We believe that everyone has been given a talent by God. Everyone has been given an ability, something that they can be able to do. And if you listen to how June has ended this conversation, in the large economies, 50 to 60% of the GDP is generated by SMEs. I strongly believe that there's still hope for us and that we can be able to do much more. So our key mandate is to help our clients to focus on their source of value so that they can be able to align their capabilities and processes and people for them to consistently serve their products and services right. So we serve micro, small, and medium enterprises in areas of business market research, business representation, monitoring and evaluation, risk management, strategic business management, and operations management. So what has been our COVID story? When the pandemic hit way back in December in China, our business started taking a hit because our clients whom we serve as consultants were affected because the manufacturing and trading line, supply line was disrupted. China closed early. China went for New Year's festival. China had to lock down. So our clients were not able to work. If our clients don't work, we do not earn any revenue. Then COVID comes and hits us here. What happens? The hotel and the beauty industry either had to shut down, downsize, or temporarily close for us to be able to assess their business operations and see how well they can be able to work. Now, and then those whom we represent outside the region, because we do business representation, had market activation and outreach activities lined up in terms of expos, shows, trade shows, or any other activity. But now, as you can clearly see, supply, demand, and confidence all dampened. So here we are. And we firmly believe that for every business, whether there's an economic downturn or not, customer attraction, customer retention, and customer development are important. As you have been told, we have to keep on doing what we are doing and not to innovate to something else that we do not have experience in during this pandemic. So that is what brought us to the recovery boot camp, the August recovery boot camp. And we were trying to ask ourselves questions. How do we change? How do we go about all this? Lucky enough for me, because of having attended this SMA Founders Conversations from way back in March, I was able to get a coach who was able to sit down with me. In fact, I think she's listening, or I don't know if she's online today, who was able to sit down with me and say, you know what, you need to change your game plan. So what do you think we can do? Then Founders Network comes up with the Founders Profit Academy, and they say, here, we have a recovery bootcamp, and we think you should come and see what we have to offer. So they promised us three things. One, to enable us to retreat and assess the impact of COVID on our businesses. Secondly, to enable us to reflect, to learn, and learn, plus be guided by mentors who are battle-hardened, having had difficult and conversations themselves with past experiences. And thirdly, to help us take the right course of action. Well, I can confirm that all those three things have been met. And why do I say they have been met? Over the last couple of days, we have been taken through the impact of the pandemic, strategies for survival, where opportunities lie for us in our Kenyan economy and from the global scene, how well we can be able to rethink how we have designed our businesses and align ourselves and look at our leadership capabilities and see what is it you're missing and where do you think you can be able to plug in. So what did I learn from the bootcamp? Number one, that it is important to constantly innovate and adapt to change. Adaptive innovation and reinvention of the business is key at all times for you to survive, whether there's an economic downturn or not. Secondly, on people and technology, the world is changing and things will never be the same again. If it would have been in normal circumstances, the Founders Network would have gotten a place and we would all have been there listening. And maybe June would have flown in from Japan, or they would have streamed live. But now what does it make us do on people and technology? To heavily leverage on technology to simplify our processes for ourselves and our clients. And at the same time, align everyone so that we are all reading from the same script with the people we work with and the people we support. And lastly, on communication. Get it right, say it right, and live right by your brand. Because as Saida has earlier said, people buy things or people buy into your product because they believe in you and because they've learned to trust you. So our communication and strategy class yesterday was very broad, and look at the feedback that people were giving in the Facebook page for recovery. We learned much more. And that is why I'm saying, get it right, say it right, and live right by your brand. Those are my key takeaways from the recovery bootcamp. Lastly, yesterday, we were encouraged and challenged to aspire and aim to be thought leaders in where we serve. Where you are in your business, can you be a thought leader and can you cause positive impact? How are all these things beneficial to us? If we address these areas, which we have started doing, and we align ourselves and close the gap on emerging business trends or disruptions, we will be able to take care of our queen bee. And if we take care of our queen bee, which is what we do well, then we shall also be able to help our clients whom we help to align their queen bees and be able to take care of their queen bees to grow, and also take care of their back ends, front ends, marketing, communication, and everything else. So together, we shall be able to innovate, drive, and thrive with our clients. Allow me to end with a quote from the book, The Art of War by Sun Tzu. And it says, the general who wins the battle makes many calculations in his temple before the battle is fought. The general who loses makes but few calculations beforehand. My learning from March to date, and what has been reinforced today by June, we live in a global village. Everything has changed. Times are changing. So we have to be more aware about what we do as business people and entrepreneurs if we want to grow. And I am grateful to the Founders Network. I am grateful for the effort and work they have put in to be able to greatly and heavily subsidize the Recovery Bootcamp, because what we have gotten from there, vis-a-vis what they charged, is a lot, and it's life-changing. And I believe that I will aspire to be a thought leader. I will aspire to cause impact, and I will aspire to work with others and help them grow. And grateful also for the new friends and networks that we have been able to get from the Founders Conversation. My coach also came from the Founders Conversation. Once again, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Cindy. Thank you very much to the team. God bless you all, and let's keep moving forward. Let's keep our lights shining. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Joe. And we are so happy for that. We are really happy you got to learn a lot in our recovery hubs. And that is just the beginning. We cannot say more. Frida, do you have anything for Joe?
No, I'm happy for him. And of course, I'm looking forward to our Nyama Choma deal. I'm looking forward to our Nyama Choma deal. What's going on next?
So next we'll just
thank you so much for coming and for
we will
being
have
part of the
Mercy
Recovery Hub. We'll see you tonight.
share with us briefly. Mercy has a very inspiring story. She's the founder of Precious Items, an organic oil farm that produces organic oil. She said her inspiration was because she had eczema, but now she's very proud of her skin. So Mercy, how are you?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mercy.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
June, thank you so much for the insights today. You have broadened our heads and our minds. And one of the things that I'm going to do personally is just to ensure I stick to what I know. I am basically in the health and beauty industry, but with natural solution to it. I am a founder of Precious Items, which is a company that sells organic oils. Okay. So as a young woman, as Cindy said, I had low self-esteem because my skin was breaking out. And you can imagine in high school how that used to feel, because you were not beautiful according to other people. So because of those scars, I felt like I am not supposed to be who I am. But later in life, I came to realize they're natural oils, especially in Africa, made from plants that can just let our skin be what it is, and also our hair. So I have been using these oils, and all I can say is just look at my face and tell me if they work on me. And yeah, I have been saying I'm going to use these oils just to help boost the self-esteem of people who have issues with their skins. Could be it has scars, could be it dries quickly, could be for your hair, it never grows, or you have a bald. I have been able to reverse all that.
Thank you so much, Mercy, for that. We can see your skin is glowing. So I'd like to ask you a few questions. Like, can you share with founders today what stood out for you at the Recovery Hub?
What stood out for me at the Recovery Hub, it is, I am this person who's a creative. So time management, I am more active between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. So coming around the Kenyan timings, it has been a challenge for me. So now I have put up structures that I can know what I'm going to do at a certain point, so that I am not overwhelmed also, because I sleep late, and I wake up late. So I have to ensure that when people are awake, my business is running. I do that by pre-scheduling social media posts. Another thing I have resolved is to ensure that my IT systems are working. I have been reluctant to do that for one reason or the other, but using ERP systems to coordinate my suppliers, my deliverers, and also any other finances and such things, just to ensure that there's something working while I am not physically there. On communications, it is to know who to talk to, when to talk to, and how to do that communication. Currently, at least on this part, I'm not very badly off, but it's now to be consistent with the information. And when I get this communication out, how am I resolving to respond to it? Most of the times, I will not follow through, and I have lost sales because of that. So when I am broke, that's when I remember, oh, I needed to talk to someone. So yeah, those are some of the things I have decided to immediately resolve. It has been yes.
That you got to prioritize about your time management and communication. Just as a wrap and parting shot, what would you tell someone who is on the fence about the Recovery Hub?
Do not be afraid to seek for help. As Kenyans, we always think we have we know what to do and when to do it. But when you talk to people who have been there, especially like this team, when it's a recovery session, you realize you're not the only one. So the things, as Efficient said, there's nothing new under the sun. So what we have to do is seek help, seek mentors, seek people who are in your industry, who have worked before, and so that you can know how to run your business and what ropes to avoid and which ones to catch.
So thank you so much, Mercy, for that. Thank you for sharing with us. So if you want East African shea butter to shine your skin, you can contact Mercy.
Yes.
Mercy, thank you so much for being on the spotlight with us today. So
thank
Mercy,
you so much.
Thank you for sharing your experiences with founders. We appreciate that a lot. And we have also, what I've gotten to learn is that do not be afraid to ask for help, because both Mercy and Joe have been able to point that out correctly. So now we'll go on to our founders community news. We always have a lot of activities that invoke founders' growth in our community, right, Frida?
Right, Cindy. I was answering a question. Somebody wants to know how they can get in touch with us on the question. So can somebody please put the number for the community in the chat session for Joseph? He joined us late. Yes, Cindy.
Thank you so much for noting that, Frida. So we will begin with our news one for the day. Did you miss the August Recovery Hub participation deadline? Worry not, we have got your back, because the September edition is loading. Frida, we are loading the September edition.
I thought it's loaded. We are just waiting for people to sign up. The guys of August are coming out. Today is their last day.
We are not even getting
So as far as I'm concerned, it is loaded.
So be sure to visit the SME Founders Association website under events and sign up for the September edition to get onto the waiting list. You will be
All right, this is the person on the slides. Thank you very much. Are you trying to confuse Cindy or what? We're going to have the Recovery Hub September session, and we do have the Recovery Hub, and we also have, after the Recovery Hub, you have the immersion. There you go, Cindy. Thank you very much. This is a mentorship ground, so we are not KBC or CNN. So we do have mistakes. We are not a perfect ground. The person on the slides is an Aspire ambassador, one of our youth programs, somebody in our youth program that is also learning. So we are very comfortable at Founders Conversation. It's a mentorship ground. We are not perfect, we are progressive. And that's why I'm always here on standby as the chief mentor, Madam, talking all the time. So Cindy, come on, let us know what is happening in September. The Recovery Hub has loaded. It is not loading, it has loaded. August is going out. Kat, take it away. Thank you.
So it has loaded, as Frida has said, it has loaded. So be sure to visit the SME Founders Association website under events and sign up for the September edition to get onto the waiting list. Then you will be notified on the next steps. It is a worthwhile investment of every cent you pay. You snooze, you lose. I do not want any founder to lose on this opportunity. Then we'll go on to news to on what is happening in the community. And there's this saying that says there's no higher form of leadership than service. So as a founder, would you like to help SMEs to bounce back to greater resilience and versatility during and post-COVID-19? Here is an opportunity to show up with your gifts and help others in return for business mentorship by our certified coaches. We are calling on you to help business owners. And if you think that you have a gift that can help business owners, just show up, and then in return, we will give you business mentorship. So sign up for this also at the SME Founders Association website and get an invite link to the Tuesday information session. We already have some recovery ambassadors who have showed up with their gifts, and we are grateful because, as Jun has said, funding is going away. So we are here to help each other out. So the earlier we begin with our gifts to help each other out, it will be better for everyone. Then 3 is our online business experts. Our vision is to ensure SMEs are thriving. And that is why we have the online business experts as one of our delivery platforms. Founders here have an opportunity to outsource tasks like event management, admin work, project management, social media management, and others at a very affordable price. When completed well, these important aspects in a business are well taken care of to ensure the founder has time to focus on their queen bee role and grow their competence as the business keeps moving forward. To contact us on this, for more information, email us at hello@smefoundersassociation.com. Frida, what do you have to say about the online business experts?
This is the most exciting part of the SME Founders Association for me, because this is our legacy plan as the mentors at SFA. What we're doing is we're working with youth in an apprenticeship program called Aspire. So these are youth who have their businesses in social media, they have their businesses in virtual events, they have businesses in project management, and they're not able to get work on their own. So we have pulled our resources together and we get work together so that they can continue thriving in business. So when you get your work done by the online business experts, number 1, you're supporting a youth to turn their passion into profit. Number 2, you're helping our youth get work, but you're also helping another SME to succeed. Number 3, you are increasing your own productivity because you don't have to do everything. Like you've had the founders from the Recovery Hub saying, you need to focus on your queen bee role. And we know that as SMEs, sometimes it is difficult to have all the money you need to do all the things you love and enjoy. So you can get an online business expert to provide you some virtual assistance 2 hours a week, 2 hours a day. Maybe you need some calls to be made. You need some databases to be put together. The online business experts can come to your help. And it's by the Aspire program, the youth program at SME Founders Association, which is an apprenticeship program to help the youth 22 to 35 turn their passion into profit. I know Cindy cannot let me go without saying that because she's one of those youth.
I am passionate about youth. How can you forget to say that? It is
I know. We always it's fun. Cindy's passion is to help older women connect with younger women. So we always say at SFA that she's living her dream because she's always showing me what to do with the youth, and I'm always telling her how to live right in the world of grown-ups. Thank you so much, Cindy.
So, founders, our next news is going to be about the founder spotlight. So ask yourself this question as a founder: what will it take you to reach over 5,000 potential customers and grow your brand?
Lots of money.
I agree, a lot of money.
Yes, Frida. What will it take?
Carry on. I say it will take lots of money and time. But with Founder Spotlight, they don't need lots of money and time. Carry on.
So with Founder Spotlight, would you want to share your journal just like Mercy and Joe have just done right now in the program? The Founder Spotlight is an opportunity to share what you do and why you do it. Opportunity to build a relationship with other founders through the interaction and get contacts to grow the business. If this is interesting to you and you'd also like to be on the spotlight to be able to reach 5,000 potential customers plus, email us, start the talk and email us on hello@smefoundersassociation.com. Join us and share your entrepreneurial journey and recover, drive, and thrive. I love listening to founders' entrepreneurial journey. Then finally, so August has been all about recovery. We've been recovering since the 1st of August. And today marks the last conversation about it. We began with a roundtable on the 6th, backed by weekly conversation that shared inspiration, insights, and intervention on how founders can begin on the road to recovery despite COVID-19. Personally, I summarized all this with the saying, every cloud has a silver lining. Even COVID-19 has one. My role is to identify the silver lining, understand it, and navigate through it. So in September, our theme will be Let's Do Business. Frida, would you like to please shed more light about September for us?
September is going to be great because we're getting back into productivity. We are saying enough of COVID. COVID can do what it's like. We are going to produce results. We are going to produce profit. Tunasonga mbele. So let's do business. COVID or no COVID, join us for profit and productivity hacks. We're going to have fantastic speakers, all our HR mentors who will be in the Recovery Hub also. We're going to talk about HR, how to recruit and create a loyal team. We're going to be looking at automation processes, communication, all those people who struggle to go on social media or think it's an option to go on social media. You want to know what do we call them? Visibility hacks, all right? So it's gonna be great. Next week, we're going to start with the HR because it's all about people. How can we ensure that people are well, founders are well, the people who we had to let go, how are they doing? So it's going to be all about people with Njeri, our HR mentor and programs director. Asante, Cindy.
Asante, Frida. So thank you so much for that, Frida. Today is our closing day and we're told to come with our best foot forward. As you see, I did. I brought Frida into co-hosting from retirement and we are happy she also flew all over to bring a speaker for us. Frida, thank you for co-hosting with me. Founders.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for coming to the Founders Conversation. My apologies for stretching your time 15 minutes past the normal time, but thank you for being here, willing to learn and change daily. So we appreciate you taking your time out to be with us as we grow together. For now, I say goodbye and thank you. Let us meet next week on Thursday for great conversations. You can feel free to reach us on the contacts on the screen and we will definitely get back to you. Goodbye, founders, and God bless you.
Well done, Cindy. Well done, SFA team. Thank you so much. I am running. I'm going to find you another